Sleep Awake, developed by Eyes Out, is the latest release from Blumhouse Games. Blumhouse may dominate horror at the box office, but their games lean firmly into the indie space. Small teams, odd ideas, and creative risks. As long-time champions of dreams by Media Molecule, a fountain of bizarre, brilliant horror, we're naturally drawn to titles like Sleep Awake. Horror doesn't need blockbuster budgets or cutting-edge graphics, it just needs a good hook. And Sleep Awake absolutely has one. For full disclosure, Blumhouse sent us a free review copy which we happily accepted. To be clear, we haven't been paid and all opinions here are our own. The only creative direction we were given was to not spoil the ending, which frankly is just good manners. Sleep Awake drops you into a world plagued by the Hush, a mysterious force that whisks people away the moment they fall asleep. Bedtime has been outlawed by a fascist regime, and you, in first person, step into the role of Katja, a woman desperately trying to stay awake long enough to uncover the fate of her missing father and brother as she tiptoes across a bleak, ruined world and, concerningly, ever-increasing dream world known as the Fade. It's a brilliant setup, raising juicy questions like what exactly is the Hush, why is it taking people, and for those forcing themselves to stay awake in gruesome and disturbing ways, could the cure be worse than the disease? Mechanically, Sleep Awake is clunky, with its modest budget creaking under the weight of its own ambitions. Katja isn't smooth to control, and even with the sprint button squeezed down tight, she trudges at a pace that mirrors the game's slow, dull opening. Go here, come back, pick that up, wipe your nose, scratch your bum. Are we having fun yet? Sleep Awake too often feels heavily scripted. On rails like a sluggish ghost train, worst of all, not even a particularly scary one. When the game finally opens up a little, it introduces bare-bones stealth sections which are just an awful chore to get through. These sections are further undermined by a beautifully animated but painfully long respawn sequence that makes you dread these encounters for all the wrong reasons. Thankfully, the gas mask wearing fascists who star in the worst levels of Sleep Awake are replaced mid-game by much creepier foes with slightly more engaging mechanics such as avoiding looking at them while you navigate your way forward, or blind enemies that madly grasp and stumble for you in the dark. With respect to the actor Persia Newman, Katja's performance feels off. Instead of someone teetering on the edge of madness, she often sounds like a sardonic Nathan Drake, only mildly exasperated by the living hell she finds herself in, which constantly chips away at the intended tone. And yet, despite this laundry list of complaints, I kept playing. Couldn't stop actually, with my first session ending well in the early hours of the morning. Why? Because Sleep Awake has style. Katja relies on a psychedelic concoction to stay awake, and as its effects ramp up, the game toys with sensory distortions, double vision, phantom sounds, reality bending at the edges. Like Alan Wake 2, it splices in live action footage to great effect. Combined with a funky, unctuous soundtrack, Sleep Awake earns its stripes as an interesting audio-visual experience. Sleep Awake is at its best, with its most swagger when it embraces its walking simulator roots, rather than pretending it's something else. Within those moments, it surprises you with a variety of striking, well-composed scenes that look visually impressive, even though the game is clearly working within modest graphical limits. The world of Sleep Awake is incredibly intriguing, but too often underdeveloped. Take the void shadows, the dark outlines that are all that remains of the people who disappeared in their sleep. Katja can curiously interact with these shadows. There's even a trophy for finding all of them, but not one of them has a single interesting thing to say. Another underbaked concept are the various faction cults you stumble upon in the early game, who all have their unique and drastic way to fend off sleep, like the guys wearing gruesome torture devices to shock their bodies back awake. But they're gone from the game almost as quickly as they're introduced. More than anything else, these cults suggest to me Sleep Awake is really just the bones of a more ambitious project. The end result of what we do get is spread a little thin, and I can't help but think of my golden indie rule: less is more. Those tantalising questions set up at the start of the game never really get answered, or at least not in a way that I felt satisfying. The last hour of the game spirals into vague ideas and abstract levels, and by the time the credits were rolling, all I could think was I was ready for some sleep of my own. Better games have been able to get away with endings that merely skirt around themes and leave the heavy lifting to players to interpret. Sleep Awake, for all its faults, needed a more coherent finale to stick the landing. If you love trippy, undefined, unabashedly weird experiences, if you believe games can be art, journeys trump destinations, and bold is better than basic, Sleep Awake might have something for you. If instead you're after a sharp, traditional horror game with some serious bite, the 5-hour ramble Sleep Awake takes you on will likely disappoint, even at its budget price.